Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video called How Sweden Turns Its Waste into Gold. So hopefully there's like a scientific explanation for this, because otherwise it sounds like you're pulling my leg. It sounds like magic. So it's like, are you joking? No, apparently it's not. Probably, hopefully not. And it's actually for real. And there's like, they made it through with some scientific process, and now they have gold. It sounds like alchemy, which probably it is alchemy, maybe, I don't know. So very curious. So let's check it out and comment, like, and subscribe.
Landfills are responsible for the release of toxins and harmful substances into the atmosphere. More than half of the world's waste, 59% in fact, ends up in landfills. In the US, they are the third.
That's like, it's a huge number. It doesn't surprise me. It shouldn't surprise me, because it's like, yeah, sure, but we should be better at this.
Largest source of anthropogenic methane emissions, a gas 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide. Methane alone accounts for nearly 15% of the country's total emissions and is associated with air and water pollution, as well as biodiversity loss and land degradation.
That's awful.
But this does not apply to Sweden. This is the only country in the world that recycles all its garbage and, in addition, buys it from other countries. The Swedes have learned to make big money.
It's what they say, another man's trash is one other person's treasure. So it is true.
Out of garbage. So how do they turn trash into gold? We will talk about that in this video.
Is it actual gold, or is it just like gold, but it's just like valuable to me?
They say that it's not clean where they clean, but where they don't litter. But the Swedes managed to change it into it's clean where they repair, share, and recycle. 1% of that is exactly how much garbage ends up in Swedish landfills. According to the Avfallsverket Swedish Waste Management Association, Sweden now recycles more than 99% of household waste.
Wow.
The recycling system works so well that almost all developed countries that are not indifferent to their own ecology take an example from it.
Oh.
Why does this system work?
So everyone's been following Sweden? I had no idea.
Not because the Swedes are some kind of aliens eating garbage, or because the waste has mastered the ability to teleport itself into space.
No.
The system started working not yesterday, but in the 70s of the last century.
Oh, wow.
Sweden, which has a harsh climate and
I was like, you should feel that, but not really. Like, they started such a long time ago.
Is completely dependent on natural gas supplies, decided to radically change the energy situation. Experts
It's crazy that I've been trying to change this since the 70s.
Calculated that each Swede produced about 1.5 kilograms of garbage a day. And given that 4 tons of house...
What on earth are you doing with your life? 1 kilogram? 1/2 kilogram? No, 1 kilogram per day per person? How much trash are you producing? Like, I don't know, that seems high.
Household waste more than compensate for the use of 1 ton of oil? Simple logic led the Swedes to the only right decision. The country was seriously carried away by waste processing. The secret of the Swedes was that while in other countries this practice remained within the framework of an environmental experiment, the Swedes approached it with all seriousness and practicality. And since 2002, it has been strictly prohibited in Sweden to dispose of waste, from which energy can be obtained, into landfills. Even the industry itself runs on garbage. Swedish garbage trucks run on biogas or electricity generated from waste.
Oh my God, that's
incredible. Waste incineration plants operating on the waste-to-energy technology are replacing nuclear power plants in Sweden.
I had no idea that technology existed.
On average, such plants produce about 17 terawatt hours of energy per year.
That's a lot? No idea.
This energy is enough to heat a significant part of the territory of Sweden.
Okay,
if a conventional thermal power plant needs coal, then for such plants it is garbage. That is, raw materials that cost practically nothing. Solid waste recycling provides 20% of the heat in Swedish homes. The Swedes even accept garbage from other countries. It is brought to them for free, for example from Norway. Neighbors are only too happy to get rid.
I was about to say, should they charge for this? Maybe they charge people, like, I don't know, maybe they would say no, but I'm wondering if they should charge.
Of garbage. But for the Swedes, this is essentially an energy resource. For every 1 ton of garbage, incineration
I guess like they shouldn't charge. It's a win-win. Like they're winning because they're getting rid of the garbage, and Sweden's winning because they're doing something useful.
plants receive $43. For instance, in 2014, Sweden received 2.3 million tons of garbage from Norway, Ireland, and the UK.
Oh, can you just send them trash?
So, in addition to raw materials for heat energy, Sweden
It's such a weird concept. If I'm sending them trash and they'll be happy about this, sure.
received a profit of almost $100 million.
Oh, okay.
But Sweden doesn't live off garbage alone. The Swedes themselves admit that incineration
It makes them sound like goblins or something.
is not that good. Burning an old thing and making a new one consumes much more energy than recycling. In addition,
True.
burning garbage releases CO2, which exacerbates the greenhouse effect.
It's gross, yes.
Therefore, the
Gross is not the actual act. It's gross. It's just gross, like, it creates gross, like, air.
population is strongly encouraged to sort garbage and hand it over for recycling.
They have so
For
many
the
types of
convenience of
glass.
residents, sorting stations have been installed throughout the country, located in supermarkets, municipal institutions, and even in the subway. Now in Sweden, 48% of household waste is recycled, while the rest goes to incinerators. For example,
okay.
the fibers contained in paper are restored up to 7 times.
Wow.
Plastic is recycled and used to make new things up to 7 times.
Especially, I think plastic is one of those things that it will never get rid of it. So I'm glad that we're, like, they're finding a use for it.
Waste recycling has
something.
opened up new business opportunities. Some are selling battery-derived lead, some are turning tires into fiber for artificial football turf flooring, and some
Oh,
are turning
God.
old newspapers into eco-friendly shovels to clean up after dogs and cats. Moreover,
that's
Sweden
incredible.
produces the most e-waste of any EU country, around 200,000 tons annually. Since 2014, all retailers of equipment in the country have been obliged to accept broken, obsolete equipment for recycling on an exchange basis. When you buy a new computer, you have the right to return the old one at the same time and get a discount.
Oh,
Plus, the government encourages the Swedes to
always said the US has something like this, but it's only with phones and up to like a certain, like, if they don't take like older phones, and I don't know, they'll, it's a cutoff. Like they'll usually tell you like, oh, it's like 5 years, older than 5 years. But I'm glad apparently, like, can they take my computer that was like in from the 1980s and they'll take it? Or maybe there's just like, there's limits to this.
repair household appliances, shoes, bicycles, reducing the tax on profit by an amount equal to half the cost of services.
Yeah, because sometimes it's easier, well, it's not easier, just like cheaper to replace things than just repairing them. And that's why people choose like, I'll just buy a new one because it's going to cost me like closer to what's going to cost me like a new one. So why would I just repair this if I can just get a newer model?
The system of fines, explanatory work, and active social advertising help to accustom the Swedes to conscious sorting. In many kindergartens in Sweden, children learn how to make garden compost from potato peels and other food scraps.
Yeah.
And recycling is
I think that's like a very common like kids activity in like kindergarten or maybe like up until probably elementary school.
generally a separate subject in the curriculum
Sometimes, not
next to
always.
physical education and music. In addition, sharing services are actively developing where instead of buying things and owning them in splendid isolation, people share everything they can, from cars and
Oh.
housing to skis and bicycles. It's reached the point where a whole new
How am I'm sharing my house. Well, I'm sharing my house with like roommates or with like a partner or with family, but like I'm not sharing a house with like strangers.
genre of commercials appeared in Sweden, namely Pantamera, which literally
Okay.
means recycle more.
And why is she blue?
A bright, environmentally friendly future in Sweden means the so-called circular economy, as we weren't lying when we said that the Swedes turn garbage into gold. They make serious money on it.
Oh,
The classical approach or linear production
It's
is
not
when we
gold.
take resources from the environment and return them back, but already in the form of garbage in landfills. The circular economy hopes to turn this straight line into a circle by recycling all or
It's
almost
constant.
all waste, reusing that raw material for the production of things or energy, and so on ad infinitum as long as it is expedient.
yes.
It's difficult to say whether the rest of the world shares this approach, but the developed powers are trying to learn from the experience of the Swedes.
Okay, I'm glad.
So in Japan, they learned to build islands from plastic. The artificial island Odaiba in Tokyo Bay was created from compressed garbage. parks, factories, and airport as
How does it work exactly? Like the actual ground is plastic, or the whole place is Miss Boxy? I have so many questions.
well as any elite residential complex are already located on its territory. The Land of the Rising Sun is no less scrupulous in its approach to internal ecology issues, and now everything from sportswear to carpets is made from recycled materials. So far, many countries are still far from a
But I think it's popular. Like if I'm trying to think of like labels that I've seen recently, and there's actually a lot of things that are made from recycled something.
waste-free Swedish life. For this, they would have to at least reconsider their relationship with plastic bags and refuse to take them at the checkout in the store, even
Well-
for free. In other words, change their minds.
Yeah.
Discover the inner Swedes in you, and the next time you go to the store, take not a plastic bag, but a special grocery bag shopper.
I think there's like, especially from that last point of supermarkets like offering you plastic. I think there's like a recent, well, I don't know how recent, but let's say semi-recent. A lot of places, a lot of countries have tried to phase out like plastic bags, so they'll charge you more if you forget your little recyclable bag, or you have like a tote bag, or you have whatever. It's whatever. We don't care. Like the supermarket doesn't care where you're actually putting your stuff. But people, it's been like if you actually do not like give them plastic bags, people of course are gonna be like, oh yes, I have to like bring my own stuff, and I have to bring my own bag, and I have to figure things out, which I think it's great. And again, a lot of places do that these days. But I don't know like how, like some of them I know that do not. I think it just depends on the chain. Yes, I think it depends on the chain. Some others like give you the whole, like they have like the little, it's not just plastic, but it's like it's made out of like paper bags. All paper bags suck because they're easily, like they can break very easily. So it's like you have like some glass and it can break. But that's another story. I do like that's one of those like things that are small. But I think once you start thinking, like it's a good thing. I don't know how like big of a difference it makes, but I think more places should definitely do that. And I'm glad to see like there's a lot of places that have done this and are definitely have done this for the sense a few years ago. And it's been like, again, so it's a slow process, but I think we're getting there. And probably once like at some point in the near future, like maybe all the country and all throughout the world, all countries should do that, and we're going to do that. We're phasing out plastic bags. We don't give you plastic bags. Maybe it's like I'm being very optimistic about this, but maybe in the next like 20 years or so. But again, I don't know the numbers. I'm being maybe a little bit optimistic. But I do think like once you start, and I'm thinking of plastic in particular, because I think when it comes to like waste, I think you think, oh well, maybe I recycle, or I try to like be more green and have like a greener sort of like lifestyle and making greener choices. But I think when it comes to plastic, once you actually start to see like how much plastic is in everything, and your life is like, wow, how much like stuff that you use regularly have plastic, like you're in for like a mind trip, because there's like so many things use plastic. And even though I do think like they also mention it, and I think if you actually read the label on things, most of the time, like they'll tell you, oh, we use recycled plastic, which good. Yes, on one hand, it's like it's a solution. Yes, we have like as the actual Earth, like as a planet, like we have a problem with like the amount of plastic that we have. Just in our current like daily lives in the current planet, there's like plastic. It's one of those things that's it's not like it's gonna be here for like, I don't know. I don't really know. I can't remember like the exact, like it doesn't degrade. It's going to be here for like hundreds and hundreds of years. So we really have to like look for the solution, because it's like, it's still there. It's still shocking and super like, it's sad to me that as the whole world like uses that much plastic, especially because we know that it's not it's not going to degrade. It's going to be here. There's like humans are being born with like microplastics. We as the actual race of human beings, we already have like microplastics in our system. It's not something that we can actually get rid of. So it is like, wow, the plastic, like this should be called like the war against plastic. To me, like plastic is just like, wow, one of those like, and I know there's like so many things that plastic has done for like humanity. Yes, good. But there's like we like it got out of hand, because now everything's plastic, and there's like we have a whole planet filled with plastic, and nothing to actually not, we can't do anything about this. We can just recycle, they'll say, well, we'll just reuse it. And yes, yet again, that's a solution, but I think the solution should be, I don't know, maybe someone should actually invent something more like a feasible option to actually get rid of plastic. I don't have the answers, and I'm just, I'm complaining, but I don't really have the solution. But I think more, scientists should, and I'm pretty sure maybe some of them are actually working on this, but they should actually create something that actually, gets rid of the plastic. Because again, it's a more like a band-aid solution to me. Like, yes, we're reusing plastic because it's the thing that we can actually do. It's the only thing we can do, because there's what's the solution? The opposite and the alternative is just to leave it there as garbage, and in order to keep contaminating the environment and keep killing fish and keep killing whales. So it is, I get it's a little bit of a band-aid solution, a good band-aid solution, but you have to actually get rid of the problem, which is the amount of plastic that we have, and the fact that plastic, it's here to stay. It's here forever. It's going to be here for 100 years or more. So we really have to find a solution to actually get rid of the plastic. But the whole, I think that's a good system as in Sweden, taking on the other hand, just Sweden taking matters into their own hands. I think it's great. I think more countries should definitely do so. Maybe it's going to be expensive, because I was thinking, well, if Norway gives them their trash, and apparently Denmark and I think it was Ireland as well, countries give them trash, which, Sweden's very thankful. Yeah, thank you. Great. But just thinking about this, I'm if you're Norway, that, I'm putting the example maybe Norway because it's right next, and probably transporting that amount of trash is probably, and it's, it's gotta be it's less of a hassle because they're right next door. But if you're Norway, aren't you thinking, okay, so how can we get on that? We should definitely start using our own trash and start doing what they are doing. Maybe it's expensive, because I get the logic behind, yes, people are, it's a whole, they're very into recycling, and, they're teaching people how, it's better, maybe not the sharing. I didn't really understand that part. You're not sharing your house with strangers, but maybe sharing bikes is, again, it's carpool, maybe a bikes I can understand. Just stuff in general, we should probably consume less things. Why are you buying stuff that you don't need? I think as a general rule, that should definitely be up on everyone's minds. Only buy the things that you need. And I'm not telling you, live like a monk. No, but just I think there's a lot of people that just mindlessly are constantly buying stuff, and it's no, you should be more mindful of what you're actually buying. And is it actually something that I need or want? Yeah, sure. But, maybe do not let it go out of hand, because people are so into consumerism, as in I own and I'm just I'm not using it. I'm just looking at this, especially people that collect stuff, not the collectors, actually people that are collecting things. But I think there's a trend in recent years of people buying, I don't know, 20 cents of, there's a shampoo or some sort of moisturizer, and they buy 25 of the same moisturizer, but it's it has a different smell, and they buy all at the same time. And it's why are you doing this? Do you know how many plastic bottles are in this? It's crazy. So again, I'm putting that as an example of people that collect water bottles, and I was why do you need so many plastic water bottles? Just use buy the ones that you're gonna need. So it is a little, maybe it's an American thing. I don't want to put them on the spot, but I do think that usually it's an American that's really into buying things and displaying them, and they're not actually being used. And there's just a lot of those stuff. Sadly, there's plastic in them. They don't really, it's glass, but even glass as well. You can recycle glass. I'm thinking of actual things that you need. So again, maybe there's some exceptions, but you should just be more mindful. If you're into collecting something, be a little bit mindful maybe of do I actually want this, and do I actually need this? But I do like the fact that as a culture, and the Swedish culture is very into recycling. You don't have to buy something. Maybe you can this be repaired? Can this be reused? I think more countries, more people in general, not just countries, I think maybe the change starts, with yourself. So I think if you actually start, thinking more about this, I think maybe you can actually make some little changes, and that's, maybe that's how it starts. It's a little step, and maybe, once it snowballs into something bigger. But I do like that as a culture, they're trying to teach people, because those kind of things can be taught. If you don't constantly, if someone doesn't tell you, because again, as a culture, you're very into we have to something broke, like let's just like throw it away and buy a new one. It's like, well, some things, yes, of course, but other things like can still be replaced. It's like a car. If your car breaks down, you're not just like getting rid of your car. No, you're fixing it, right? Like, no, I have to repair my car. Or even just, your laptop or your phone. Like some things, obviously there comes to a point where it's like, no, there's no fixing this. But usually, like you will, I have to repair it. Like if your screen breaks, like you'll just replace the screen. However, I do think with electronics, and I already mentioned it, it's a little bit harder because sometimes the prices are like so high that it's like, no, it's best if I just, buy a new one. But sometimes like people that, for instance, like they change phones like every year. It's like, why are you changing your phone like every year? Your phone, trust me, it's the same. Like it doesn't have any newer updates. You can still update the one you have, and you're not gonna notice a difference. So it's kind of like crazy. And even in computers as well. Like why would you like buy a new computer every year? Like you don't have need of this. So and that creates even sadly that creates a lot of waste because again I think with electronics it's just like it's different. They do also have like plastic parts, but there's also like the lithium batteries and also like components and electrical components that you can just like throw them out in the trash. No, but I do think that they can be reused. I don't really know enough about the subject to actually like say, oh, you can actually like do something with this. But I think like they say like to stores that work with electronics, they are the ones that know like, yes, this can be used, this can be reused, not used, but this can be reused. So I think maybe we should like get as a culture, and other countries should definitely get on that. And again, just like you as a person, maybe try to find new uses. I think maybe there's like some decorative like things that you can do, and maybe teach children as well. Children, I think it starts from early on because then it's a little bit harder just to make the switch as an adult. But I think as a child, if you're constantly like being taught and how to recycle, like they say, like how to compost, and maybe how to recycle different things in your own house, like maybe like get the glass bottles can be used for this, and you can like reuse this. And just like the organic like matter can also be used as a compost. So just like those little things, I think they are I don't know how widespread they are, but there's certain schools in certain places that absolutely like teach kids this, and it's a good system, at least to me, because it's like, yes, it creates like better humans in the future, maybe not better humans, but just you have to be more mindful of the planet that we're living here, because we're here to stay, and we should hopefully, like, we want to have a planet for as long as we can, and things are not looking that good. So we really do have to make an effort. But I love how Sweden really did, like, made the switch, and again, more countries should follow. And I'm wondering, like, if it's a thing about like maybe culture, but culture I think can be, yes, it's not going to happen overnight, but I think you can again make changes like progressively, and as a culture like teach people how to like do this. But I'm wondering if also about cost, maybe like just the recycling, I'm talking in like in a greater scale, not just like you reusing like glass bottles, but maybe at a greater scale, the whole system that they used in order to like, they were like in Korea and Japan as well. They apparently like, they reuse plastic to like make, I don't really know, an island, which I'm like confused about, but they apparently like made soil, they made ground, they made, I don't really know, but they made this. And other places were doing, I think it was like grass as well. So again, maybe those kind of systems are, I don't know if like the technology is not there to like create other things, but or maybe it's just like more expensive. Maybe it's expensive, and maybe they should like Sweden should actually take one for the team and maybe teach the know-how to other countries and bring it there. I don't know, because it looks like they've had to figure it out, and it's good. Although I know not always is like at a greater scale, because even the ones that they're creating shovels, it's like, well, that doesn't, again, maybe the technology is not that hard. It's just like a matter of having the idea of like, hey, I have a great idea, I'm like, what can you do with this? But of course you need like startups and stuff in order for people to actually have the ideas, and they have to like look for funding. But again, I think we should definitely invest in one of those in stuff like that, because those are, again, ultimately we're all benefiting, as in like the planet Earth and everyone in society, and especially not just even us, as in the people living in on the planet Earth, like in this day and age, just like in the future, in 10, 20, 50, or even like 60 or 80 years, like this is going to be more of a problem. So we really have to figure things out, and it looks like Sweden like has a lot of answers, so we should definitely ask them. But that was it for today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.